Amazing. Well, good morning, everyone. It is absolutely beautiful, as it always is in Niagara, and it is great to be here today in St. Catharines, the Garden City, joined by my friends and colleagues and friends of the Niagara regions, frankly. Those who know that the Honourable Prabmeet Sarkaria, the Minister of Transportation, and the Honourable Kinga Surma, the Minister of Infrastructure, have come down to the Niagara region so many times, and whenever they come bearing good news for local workers, for families, for commuters, and for the entire region. You know, I'm thankful for their friendship and for their advocacy, and today we're going to be hearing some exciting news from both of these all-star ministers. I'm also thankful to be joined today by Jim Bradley, the chair of the Regional Municipality of Niagara, Matt Cisco, the mayor of the city of St. Catharines, the mayor of Welland, Frank Campion, and the Lord Mayor of Niagara-on-the-Lake, Gary Zalepa, who are all leading the charge for municipalities progressing towards a stronger, more vibrant Niagara, and I want to thank them for joining us. We're standing today at the intersection of two historical transportation corridors that have both carried trade by ship and by truck for decades, the Welland Canal and the QEW. And in the face of unjust American tariffs and global uncertainty, these transportation corridors are more critical than ever to protect our local, our provincial, and really our national supply chains. As was talked about in the 2025 Ontario budget, a plan to protect Ontario, our government is committing almost $30 billion, that's with a B, to support the planning and construction of highway expansion and rehabilitation projects. And Mayor Cisco and I were talking a little bit earlier, and I have to tell you, after talking about the weather, the number one thing that people like to talk about in Niagara, I think, is the traffic. And this is because, of course, of how crucial the QEW corridor is to our entire region as a real backbone of this region. Now, the plan that has been unleashed in the 2025 budget is the most ambitious capital plan in Ontario's history, as our government builds the infrastructure that communities and municipalities need to grow and prosper. It's all part of a greater vision to make Ontario the most competitive place to invest, create jobs, and do business in the G7, while also investing even more in critical infrastructure, healthcare, and education. So today, I look forward to hearing another good news milestone announcement for Niagara, and I would like to invite Minister of Transportation, Minister Prabmeet Sarkaria, to tell you more about why we are here today. Welcome, Minister Sarkaria.
Thanks, Sam. Good morning, everyone, and thank you very much, Sam, MPP Oster, Minister Osterhoff, for that kind introduction, and fearless and fierce advocate for his community in the Niagara region. Overall, it's always a pleasure to work with you and deliver major infrastructure projects like this as well. Also great to be here with Minister Surma, who I have the pleasure of working with each and every single day on delivering of over $100 billion in transit and transportation infrastructure across the province, whether that's bridges, highways, public transit. It's always an honor to work with her and her team at the Ministry of Infrastructure deliver on this, but also with the local political leadership that are here as well. Mayor Cisco, Zalepa, Campion, the Regional Chair Bradley, they have all been huge champions, not only for these projects, but for their communities across the Niagara region, and delivering not only this project that we're going to speak about, but also major infrastructure projects, whether that's hospitals, highways, or transit. And it's been a pleasure to work with all of them. I also want to thank our partners that are here from Skyway Bridging, the consortium who are going to be delivering this project. We appreciate everything that they do, and as partners on this, we have some very, very exciting news to share with you today that will help support this government's plan to fight gridlock and drive economic growth. South of the border, President Trump's tariffs continue to target families and businesses across the province. That is why our government was elected on a mission and a promise to protect Ontario. Right now, it is more important than ever to invest in transportation infrastructure that will allow us to build the most competitive economy in the G7. It's why we're all here today. I'm pleased to announce that tomorrow our government is awarding a contract for the detailed design of the Garden City Skyway Twin Bridge. This contract will include the detailed design of the new Twin Bridge and marks a major milestone in our plan to tackle gridlock create new jobs, and drive economic growth. The Garden City Skyway is critical to trade in our province. Every day it carries over 100,000 trucks and cars along the QEW. It also connects our province to 3 international bridge crossings and serves as a key link to Canada's top tourist destination, Niagara Falls, which welcomes 12 million visitors per year. Following this project, the existing bridge will be rehabilitated to carry Niagara-bound traffic. The new 4-lane, 2.2-kilometer twin bridge will then open to carry Toronto-bound traffic over the Welland Canal. Twinning the Garden City Skyway isn't just about fighting gridlock. It's an economic lifeline that will power our province into the future. Our government is making strategic investments in critical infrastructure that will support increased trade and create good-paying jobs for Ontario's workers. Over the next decade, we are investing nearly $30 billion on the roads, highways, and bridges across Ontario, and nearly $70 billion on the public transit that will connect communities for generations to come. We can't control President Trump, but we can control the future we build for ourselves. Each year, the Greater Golden Horseshoe sees more than $1 trillion worth of goods transported across its highways. The Garden City Skyway is a key part of this mosaic, especially to the Niagara region, especially as population in the Greater Golden Horseshoe is expected to grow to nearly 15 million in the next quarter century. By increasing capacity on the Garden City Skyway, we're supporting more trade along a critical highway and creating good-paying construction jobs for engineers, heavy equipment operators, and laborers. This is not all we're doing for commuters in the Niagara region. Just a few months ago, we announced that we have officially connected the West Harbour GO station to the main rail line. This means commuters in St. Catharines and Niagara Falls will be able to save up to 15 minutes per round trip on the Lakeshore West line. It's part of our plan to invest in transportation across the province and to protect Ontario. With that, I have the pleasure to passing it over to Minister Surma. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. It's great to be here in beautiful Niagara region. In fact, I think I come here far too often to celebrate this amazing milestone in the Garden City Skyway Bridge Twinning project. We know our province is facing unprecedented challenges and economic uncertainty. The people here in Niagara, close to the U.S. border, are feeling this more than most. That is why, under the leadership of Premier Ford, we have responded with unity, strength, and a focus on protecting and building Ontario. Our 2025 Ontario budget released just last month includes the most ambitious capital plan in Ontario's history, with more than $200 billion to build and expand critical infrastructure across all parts of the province. This includes nearly $30 billion over the next 10 years to support the planning and construction of highway expansion and rehabilitation projects. In addition to projects like the Skyway expansion and other new highways, we are also building more public transit, homes, hospitals, and schools. Pressing forward with these projects is more important than ever, not only because they help serve people for generations to come, but also because they keep workers on the job, create more prosperous communities, and build stronger, more resilient economy for all. Our government also recognizes that in order to protect Ontario, we must also build smarter and faster. Through our recently passed Protect Ontario by Building Faster and Smarter Act, we are speeding up development processes, reducing delays, and bringing down costs so that we can get shovels in the ground sooner for those important projects. Congratulations to everyone involved in expanding the Garden City Skyway. I look forward to seeing the next stage of this important project come to life. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Before I begin, I do just want to respectfully disagree with Minister Surma. She is not here too much. She can actually come down as often as she would like, especially when she pairs it with Minister Sarkaria. We always appreciate seeing them here in Niagara. I do want to thank everyone for being here today, and I'd like to begin by acknowledging some of the distinguished guests we have with us. Obviously, Minister Sarkaria and Minister Surma, and of course, our local champion, Minister Sam Osterhoff. Thank you all for your leadership and your commitment to investing in the future of Niagara. I also want to thank Regional Chair Jim Bradley for joining us, along with Mayors Campion and Lord Mayor Zalepa, and also Deputy Lord Mayor Irwin Weens, who is here, another strong champion for our community. Today marks a very significant milestone for St. Catharines in the Niagara region. The Ministry of Transportation's awarding of the contract for the detailed design of the Garden City Skyway twinning is not just an infrastructure announcement, it's a commitment to a more connected future. As the mayor of the city of St. Catharines, I couldn't be happier to get to this stage in this project. This next phase, which includes the design of the twin bridge, updates to the surrounding roads and ramps, and the utility relocation, sets the stage for a project that will deliver real, lasting benefits to our city and our province. The Garden City Skyway twinning project is a transformative investment in the future of St. Catharines and Niagara. It's going to strengthen our local economy, it will improve our traffic flow, it'll create more reliable connections for residents and businesses alike. This project also means real, immediate benefits for local workers and contractors, creating good paying jobs and supporting families throughout our community. And its impact goes far beyond our city. This corridor, as has been said, is a vital artery for the movement of goods across the Greater Golden Horseshoe and Ontario. Enhancing it means unlocking new economic potential for the entire region. For decades, the Garden City Skyway has connected people, goods, and communities across the province. With this expansion, we are investing not only in concrete and steel, but in opportunity, resilience, and growth. So on behalf of the City of St. Catharines, I want to thank the provincial partners for their ongoing commitment to our shared future. We look forward to continuing this important work together for the benefit of our city, our region, and all Ontarians. Thank you.
We'll now go to questions. If reporters could line up at the microphone behind me, please identify yourselves by name and outlet, and it will be one question, one follow-up. First question.
Hi, Minister. Jack Howan from the Trillium. We reported yesterday that Metrolinx had a falling out with Deutsche Bahn. They scaled back their GO expansion plans, and they're still unsure about the scope of the project years later. Is that acceptable to you? And if not, what do you plan to do about it?
Well, look, with any of our contractors, if they are not hitting milestones, they will not continue to move forward. And I think the team at Metrolinx has worked with a variety of partners across many different projects. We are launching one of the largest, if not the largest transit expansion in North America's history of $70 billion over the next 10 years. We work with many partners throughout that. But ultimately, if those partners are not hitting milestones, we will hold them accountable. And in this situation, that is exactly what has happened. But there is no impact to passenger service throughout this. Last year we increased service by over 300 trips per week on GO Rail and GO Transit. We're going to continue to deliver upon that. Two-way all-day GO across our network is the goal that we have and the goal that we will achieve. We'll do that through the investments that we're making, the $70 billion over the next 10 years.
So you mentioned the partners meeting Deutsche Bahn, but Metrolinx also said internally that it was having affordability challenges with the GO expansion project. Now your government obviously hasn't been shy about funding big transit projects. So does Metrolinx have a funding problem or a culture problem? And are you confident in its ability to deliver GO 2.0?
I'm very confident in Michael Lindsay and the team at Metrolinx and their ability to deliver the GO expansion projects. We have shown since taking over as the government in 2018, just in the Niagara region, we've got to 3 trips, I think, per day now, 4 years ahead of schedule because of the work that we've done with GO Transit, the investments that we've made into public transit, into GO Transit. So I have full confidence in that. Look, there's no doubt that building transit is much more expensive today than it is before. But one thing that the Premier and our government has always been committed to when it comes to infrastructure, when it comes to public transit, highways, bridges, we invest in that. Minister Surma is undertaking the largest infrastructure plan at over to $200+ billion of investments across education, across healthcare, My goal is to continue that in public transit and highways, and we see the result of that across the network. 300 new trips per week added last year, and we'll continue to build upon that, continue to invest in that, and work with all levels of government to ensure that we get those projects across the board.
Yeah, I will add to Prab's comments. You know, construction is a difficult thing, and one has to keep in mind that on the GO Rail system, not only do we have to keep operations running while we expand service, which is a very, very complicated thing to do on heavy rail. That being said, Minister Sarkaria and Michael Lindsay, the new CEO of Metrolinx, know how important regional rail is. In fact, the Premier mentioned it and has spoken to the Prime Minister about how important regional rail is to growth in the Greater Toronto Hamilton area. And so we will continue to work with our partners, with municipalities, with our contractors, with our proponents and the federal government to make sure that we get there two-way all-day go.
Hi there, Karina Walter from the St. Catharines Standard. I'm just wondering if you're able to say yet how much this Skyway project is costing, and as part of that, obviously when you first started this planning and put out the request for proposals, it was before the tariff issues with the states, and I'm just wondering how that has affected the process, or if it has at all.
So we wouldn't get into the specifics of the dollar value just to protect the process as it continues to move forward on it. But it is a part of our $28 billion plan on building bridges and highway infrastructure across the province. What I can say very proudly is the members that we have building this bridge and the consortium behind here are very trusted and proud partners that will hire hundreds and thousands of workers, not only from the region, but from Canada. And we'll work with them to ensure that we are using as much Canadian products and Ontario-made products as possible. And I think we've seen that from their commitment on many other projects that they've done with the province that they continue to do as well. And so we look forward to working with them, whether it's the design phase or the construction phase, on ensuring that it is as Canada and Ontario focused as it possibly can be. And when we have projects like this that are generational, we expect there to be a lot of positive spin-offs in the local economy as well to many of the individuals that live in the area, that use these networks to commute. But ultimately, the most important part of this project is also the continuation of trade that is going to happen across the Niagara region with the 3 border crossings that are going to be ensured here. The part of this plan that really helps supports the region is the fact that that both bridges will be built and we are mitigating any impacts to traffic as much as possible through the way that we are building this project and twinning the bridge as well. So ultimately, this will be a very good outcome for the people of Niagara and continues to support the trade in the region, and a lot of it is the focus on the economy here through this project.
You mentioned the gridlock before and this helping with some of that, and I'm just wondering, do you have plans to expand the QEW on the other side then yet? And is there a timeline for that? And does your government have any other plans for relieving some of the congestion between St. Catharines and Burlington, which can be pretty bad at times around the Lincoln area?
A little hard to hear you on that, I apologize. I heard the first part of the question, not the second part, sorry.
Yeah, my second part was just, do you have any other plans for relieving some of the congestion between St. Catharines and Burlington on the QEW?
Yeah, so one of the announcements that we made in the campaign right here in the Niagara region was the expansion of the QEW. We also, the Premier at that point noted that he would invest an additional $20 billion into infrastructure investments. So a key part of that is from the Burlington Skyway and approximately 20 plus kilometers thereafter, which we will invest and start the process on the expansion. The one thing that we're committed to as a government is building that capacity on the highways, to building the capacity, whether it's highways or transit. And you will definitely see that moving forward. It's something that we committed to in the campaign and something that we have, assure you that we will continue to do so. We recognize the growth that is happening in this area. That is why we are getting ahead on this bridge as well, to ensure that we're mitigating any sort of factors that, with respect to more congestion that will be caused by just simply resurfacing it and ensuring that it is able to continue for the future. And that is why we are using the twinning aspect of the bridge, but also ultimately looking at the entirety of the QEW to see how we can continue to manage additional capacity on that, while also expanding our GO Rail options to the region as well.
That concludes today's press conference. Thank you.